Have you ever had a dream so big, so life-changing, that you'd risk everything for it, only to have the people you love most turn their backs on you? I'm talking about the kind of heartbreak that cuts deeper than any knife, when your own family, your blood, your foundation, stands against you, leaving you stranded between your future and the bonds you thought were unbreakable. That's exactly what happened to me when I decided to move abroad, chasing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, only to face a family boycott that shattered my world. This isn't just a story about packing up and leaving. It's a raw, emotional journey through betrayal, loneliness, and the desperate fight to hold onto my dreams while grappling with the guilt of breaking away. Stick with me as I spill the pain of losing my family's support, the memories of a life I thought I'd always have, and the shocking truth that forced me to rethink everything I believed about loyalty. I've been torn apart by this, and now I'm at a turning point, needing your help to figure out if I made the right choice, or if I've lost too much to ever recover. Let's dive into one of the hardest chapters of my life, from the dream that started it all to the strength I had to find when everything fell apart. My name's Caleb, and I'm 32 now, sitting in a small apartment in Lisbon, Portugal, where the cobblestone streets echo with history and the salty breeze off the Tagus River carries a bittersweet reminder of how far I've come and what I've left behind. This story stretches from 2015 to 2023, starting when I was 24, a restless guy from Boise, Idaho, dreaming of something bigger than the quiet, predictable life I'd always known. The core of this tale is the devastating fallout when my family boycotted my decision to move abroad for a job opportunity that could redefine my future. The emotional conflict tearing me apart is the clash between my burning ambition to build a life on my own terms and the crushing guilt and longing for my family's approval, especially from my older sister, Mia, who was always my rock growing up. The unexpected twist came in 2021 when I learned that their boycott wasn't just about disapproval. It was rooted in a deep-seated fear of losing me forever, tied to a tragic loss they'd never fully healed from. This all unfolds in Boise, a city of wide-open skies and tight-knit communities, and later in Lisbon, a vibrant, ancient city that became both my escape and my battleground, spanning a time of personal growth and profound loneliness. I grew up in Boise, a place where the Boise River winds through the city like a lifeline, and the foothills loom in the distance, always reminding you there's something bigger out there. Back in 2015, I was 24, working a dead-end job at a local hardware store, stocking shelves and dreaming of a life beyond the same streets I'd walked since I was a kid. My family was everything to me: Mom, Dad, and Mia, who's 3 years older and was always the one to patch me up after playground scrapes or late-night heartbreaks. We'd spend Sundays at Julia Davis Park, grilling burgers by the river, the smell of charcoal mixing with the crisp Idaho air, laughing over old stories while kids played nearby. I'd look at Mia, with her no-nonsense attitude and fierce protectiveness, and feel like I had a safety net no matter what. But even then, I felt a restlessness, a pull to see the world beyond the state lines, though I kept it buried, not wanting to disrupt the comfort of our tight-knit circle. By 2017, I was 26, and that itch to leave had grown into a full-blown obsession. I'd saved up from odd jobs, mowing lawns, fixing fences, and started applying for international programs, spending late nights in my childhood bedroom, the glow of my laptop casting shadows on posters from high school, researching opportunities in Europe. I'd walk along the Greenbelt, the river's gentle rush a backdrop to my thoughts, imagining a life where I wasn't just Caleb from Boise, but someone who'd seen the world, built something extraordinary. I kept it quiet at first, not ready to face the inevitable questions, but the excitement bubbled inside me, especially when I landed an interview for a junior marketing role with a tech startup in Lisbon. I'd sit on the porch of our family home, the evening breeze cooling the summer heat, picturing myself strolling through ancient European streets, finally free to chase my own path. The dream became real in early 2018 when I got the offer, a 2-year contract in Lisbon with a chance to extend, complete with a modest salary and a relocation stipend. I was 27, buzzing with adrenaline, pacing the living room of my tiny rented apartment near downtown Boise, the city's quiet hum outside my window a stark contrast to the chaos in my head. I couldn't wait to tell my family, imagining their pride, maybe even a celebratory dinner at our favorite diner on State Street, the one with the neon sign and sticky booths. But when I broke the news over Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's, the air shifted, heavy and cold, like a storm rolling over the foothills. I saw Mia's face harden, her fork pausing midair, and Mom's eyes dropped to her plate, while Dad just muttered something about throwing away stability. I sat there, the smell of roast chicken turning sour in my nose, feeling the weight of their silence. Realizing this wasn't going to be the moment of support I'd hoped for. I left that night, driving aimlessly past the Capitol building, its dome glowing under the streetlights, wondering if I'd misread my family all along, or if I was the one being selfish for wanting more. Through the rest of 2018, their resistance grew into a full-on boycott, a wall I couldn't break through. I was still 27, packing boxes in my apartment, the reality of leaving in just a few months sinking in, while Mia stopped returning my calls, and Mom would only send short texts about reconsidering. Dad flat out said he wouldn't see me off at the airport, his voice gruff over the phone, like I'd betrayed some unspoken code. I'd lie awake in my half-empty place, the hum of Boise's nightlife faint through the walls, wrestling with guilt, wondering if I was tearing apart the only people who'd always had my back. I'd walk to in Morrison Park alone, the grass still damp from morning dew, remembering Mia teaching me to ride a bike there, her cheers echoing in my mind, and I'd question if chasing this dream was worth losing that bond. The city felt smaller then, suffocating, every familiar street a reminder of what I might be leaving behind for good. By early 2019, I was 28, boarding a plane at Boise Airport, my stomach in knots as I glanced back at the empty gate. No family there to wave goodbye, just a few strangers dragging suitcases. The flight to Lisbon felt like a leap into the unknown, the drone of the engines drowning out my racing thoughts, a mix of exhilaration and aching loneliness as I pictured Mom's disappointed frown, Mia's cold shoulder. Landing in Lisbon was a shock. Narrow, winding streets, pastel buildings stacked on hills, the air thick with the scent of grilled sardines and ocean salt. I settled into a tiny studio in the Alfama district, the sound of fado music drifting through my window at night, beautiful but haunting, mirroring the emptiness I felt without my family's support. I'd sit on my balcony, barely big enough for a chair, staring at the Tagus River glittering under the moon, wondering if I'd made a colossal mistake, or if this was the start of something I'd one day be proud of. The first year in Lisbon, through 2019, was a grind, my days filled with learning the ropes at the startup, navigating a language I barely understood, and trying to build a life from scratch. I was still 28, sending emails and postcards home, hoping for a reply, but getting nothing but silence, each unanswered message a punch to the gut. I'd walk to Miradoro de Senhora do Monte, a viewpoint overlooking the city's red-tiled roofs, the vastness of it all making me feel smaller, more alone, as I replayed family arguments in my head, questioning if I'd been too stubborn or if they were the ones who'd failed me. I made a few friends at work, expats mostly, but late nights at tabernas, clinking glasses of Vinho Verde, couldn't fill the void of Mia's sarcastic banter or Mom's quiet hugs. Lisbon's beauty, the golden light on the Ponte 25 de Abril, the clatter of trams, felt like a cruel contrast to the ache in my chest, a reminder that I'd gained a dream but lost my anchor. By 2020, I was 29, and the pandemic hit, locking me down in my Lisbon apartment, the city's usual buzz replaced by an eerie quiet, amplifying my isolation. I'd stare at my phone during endless Zoom calls for work, hoping for a text from home, but the silence persisted, a boycott that felt more personal with each passing month. I'd pace my tiny space, the walls plastered with photos of Boise, family picnics, Mia and me at the Idaho State Fair, feeling the weight of their absence, wondering if they even thought about me, or if I'd been written off as the son who abandoned them. I started taking long walks along the riverfront when restrictions eased, the water's calm a mirror to my turmoil, asking myself if I should have stayed in Idaho, played it safe, or if giving up now would mean admitting they were right to doubt me. The loneliness was suffocating, Lisbon's charm fading as I battled guilt, missing the smell of Idaho pine after rain, the comfort of knowing my family was just a drive away. The unexpected twist came in late 2021, when I was 30, after I finally got a call from Mia, her voice shaky through the crackling line, the first contact in nearly 3 years. I sat on my couch, the Lisbon night pressing against my window, heart pounding as she revealed the real reason for their boycott. Not just disapproval, but a deep fear of losing me, tied to the death of our uncle, Dad's brother, who'd moved abroad decades ago and died in a car accident far from home, a loss they'd never spoken about, but carried like a scar. She admitted they'd seen my move as a repeat of that tragedy, a risk they couldn't bear, and their silence was their way of protecting themselves from another goodbye that might be permanent. I sat there, the hum of the city faint outside, stunned as the pieces clicked. Every cold shoulder, every ignored message wasn't rejection, but pain, a grief I hadn't known shaped their reaction. It reframed everything. leaving me torn between understanding their fear and resenting how they'd shut me out instead of sharing it. Through 2022, I was 31, wrestling with this revelation, my life in Lisbon more stable, my contract extended, a small circle of friends, but my heart still fractured. I'd walk through Barro Alto on weekends, the lively bars and street art a distraction, wondering if I owed Mia and my parents an apology for not seeing their side sooner, or if their silence had still crossed a line I couldn't forgive. I started video calling Mia occasionally, short, awkward chats about mundane things, avoiding the deeper hurt, though her voice brought back flashes of Boise winters, sledding down Bogus Basin, her laughter echoing in the snow. I'd sit at Cafe Nicola in Ratio Square, sipping espresso, the chatter of tourists around me, questioning if I could rebuild with them from thousands of miles away, or if the distance, physical and emotional, had changed us too much. Lisbon's endless sunshine felt mocking at times, a contrast to the storm inside me, as I grappled with whether their fear justified the pain they'd caused. Reflecting on this mess into early 2023, I'd take the tram up to Parque Eduardo 7, gazing over the city's sprawl, thinking about how their boycott had nearly derailed my dream, and how their hidden grief added layers to my guilt. I'd recall the early days in Boise, so full of family barbecues and late-night talks with Mia on the porch, now tainted by years of silence, wondering if I'd been too focused on my own ambitions to notice their unspoken wounds, or if I'd had every right to chase my path. I thought about my own loneliness, how I'd craved their support, questioning if I'd pushed them away by leaving, or if their reaction had forced me to grow in ways I hadn't expected. I'd linger by the river at Cais du Soter, the ferries gliding across, asking if we could heal as a family, or if some rifts stayed open no matter how much time passed. By mid-2023, my career in Lisbon was thriving, with a promotion to a mid-level marketing role, a bigger apartment in Campo de Rique, and a routine that felt like home. Morning runs through Parque Florestal de Monsanto, evenings at local mercados. But personal peace remained elusive, each small win at work overshadowed by the unresolved ache of family ties. I started revisiting memories of Idaho through old photos, the Boise River sparkling in summer shots, wondering if Mia still walked those paths, or if she missed me as much as I sometimes missed her. Lisbon's vibrant festivals, Santo Antonio in June, with sardines grilling on every corner, felt hollow without someone to share them with, pushing me to decide if I'd reach out more, risk vulnerability, or keep this fragile distance as my new normal. The emotional weight of this unresolved conflict lingered, even as my days filled with routine, each memory of their boycott a reminder of how much I'd questioned my worth to them, and how much I still longed for the closeness we'd lost. I'd spend late nights in my new place, the city's lights twinkling outside, wondering if I'd let this hurt define me too long, or if it was the only way I'd protected myself from more rejection. I started avoiding certain expat hangouts, unable to hear stories of family visits without the sting of envy, though every detour made me question if I was running from them, or from my own fear of failing to reconnect. I'd take long walks through Belém, past the Geronimo's monastery, the history of the place grounding me, asking if I'd been too stubborn after learning their reasons, or if some breaches of trust were just too heavy to move past. Reflecting on my past became a constant loop through the fall of 2023, especially on quiet evenings when I'd sit by the Tagus, sketchbook closed, thinking about the family who'd once been my everything. I'd recall the time Mia and I camped at Redfish Lake, the Sawtooth Mountains looming, a memory now shadowed by years of unspoken pain. I thought about small moments, Mom packing me lunches for school, Dad teaching me to fix a flat tire, now warped by time, wondering if they sensed my struggle from afar, or if they missed me as much as I sometimes missed them. I'd walk through Lisbon's Baixa district during the holiday markets, the festive lights a contrast to my mood, questioning if I'd ignored their fears back then, or if I'd been too consumed by my own dreams to see them. The city's heartbeat, street performers, ocean breezes, challenged me to decide if I could rebuild with them, or if some wounds stayed open. Now, as I sit here in my Lisbon apartment, the Portuguese night settling in with the distant sound of trams and the faint glow of streetlights outside, I'm still wrestling with where to go from here. My life feels like it's on a solid path, with a job I love and a city I've grown to call home. But there's an ache where my family should be, a fracture I don't know how to mend. There are moments when I think about flying back to Boise, showing up unannounced, maybe sitting down over coffee at that old diner, seeing if there's still a bond we can salvage. Then there's the part of me that hesitates, scared of more rejection, more silence, wondering if I can truly open up again, or if I should focus on my life here, even if it means accepting this distance as permanent. So, I'm turning to you, my listeners, because I'm at a crossroads and I can't see the right path ahead on my own. Do I fight to reconnect with my family, dive deep into rebuilding those ties, and risk getting hurt again if they're not ready to meet me halfway? Or do I keep building my life here in Lisbon, prioritize my own growth, and accept that sometimes dreams come at a cost, even if it breaks my heart to let go? I've spent so long grappling with this pain, trying to find forgiveness or at least understanding, but I don't know if I've got the strength to face this head on, or if I even should. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this story hit close to home, and subscribe if you want to follow how this all plays out. I'm reading every single piece of advice, because right now, I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something huge, and I don't know which way to turn. Thanks for listening to my mess, for being here through the highs and lows of this painful journey. I'll catch you in the next video, hopefully with some clarity, or at least a small step forward. Until then, take care, and let me know, what would you do if you were me?